Okay, welcome back. We are Arya Nagarjuna's friends. February 4th, 2024. Let's gather our minds here as we usually do. Please bring your attention to your breath until you hear from me again. Now bring to mind that being who for you is a manifestation of ultimate love, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom. See them there with you, gazing at you with their unconditional love for you, smiling at you with their holy great compassion, their wisdom radiating from them, a beautiful golden glow encompassing you in its light. And then we hear them say, bring to mind someone you know who's hurting in some way. Feel how much you would like to be able to help them. Recognize how the worldly ways we try fall short. How wonderful it will be when we can also help them in some deep and ultimate way, a way through which they will go on to stop their distress forever. Deep down, we know this is possible. Studying emptiness and karma, we glimpse how it's possible. And so I invite you to grow that wish into a longing, and that longing into an intention. And maybe even that intention into a determination. Then we turn our minds back to our precious holy being. We know that they know what we need to know, what we need to learn yet, what we need to do yet to become one who can help this other in this deep and ultimate way. And so we ask them, please, please teach me that, show me that. And they are so happy that we've asked. Of course, they agree. Our gratitude arises. We want to offer them something exquisite. So we think of the pure world. They are teaching us how to create. We imagine we can hold it in our hands and we offer it to them, following it with our promise to practice what they teach us, using our refuge prayer to make our promise. Here is the great earth, filled with fragrant incense and covered with the blanket of flowers. The great mountain, 4 lands, wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratnam Mandala Kam Niryatayami. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community, through the merit that we do in exploring this text and the rest. May we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that we do in exploring this text and the rest. May we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that we do in exploring this text and the rest, may all beings totally awaken for the benefit of every single other. Already. So we are reading Light for a Friend, a commentary on Arya Nagarjuna's letter to a friend, where Arya Nagarjuna is writing to the king to help the king learn how to rule his kingdom and practice the Dharma at the same time. Similar to how we in worldly life practice the Dharma in worldly life. And we were on this section starting the 10 paths of karma. So Elsie, you're at the top. Please.
The 10 paths of karma. This brings us to our second point from above. Advice, in general, to remain upon the path of virtuous karma. And so the following lines are presented as advice to use a mind full of thoughts of faith, to inspire ourselves to do good, to good deeds. Now that we have first demonstrated how the mind is kept lucid by the practice of those 6 kinds of awareness and how they serve as a cause of massive merit, we must always rely upon the 10 paths of virtuous karma, on the physical, the verbal, and the mental. We refer here to virtue in that it produces for us many different desirable results in our life. And when we say karma, We do so because the essential nature of these virtues is action, and then we use the term path in that here we are referring to actions which serve as a path for traveling to the higher rebirths. Joanna, you want to go?
Joanna, would you like to carry on?
Yes, thank you. And there are 10 different types of path here, those that range from giving up the taking of life on up to maintaining viewpoints which are pure. And what these lines are telling us is that we must always rely upon these things in our actions, our words, and our thoughts, referring to the three physical acts of renouncing, for example, the taking of life, to the four verbal acts of refusing to commit, for example, the act of lying, and to the three mental acts of avoiding, for example, the desire to acquire more things. Now, the fact is that the 10 karmic paths of good deeds are something we rely on giving up completely the 10 karmic paths of bad deeds, killing and the rest of them. One might ask how we define those paths. Also the footnote?
Yes, please.
10 paths. Stated briefly, physically giving up taking life, stealing and sexual misconduct. Verbally giving up lying, splitting up other people, harsh words and idle talk. And mentally giving up being unhappy when others get something they wanted, being happy when something they don't want to happen does happen, and then holding mistaken viewpoints about life and the world. These will be covered individually following.
Roxana, please.
Thank you, dear Lama. We can offer a brief definition for the karmic paths of taking life and the rest by saying that they begin with a negative state of mind. And then, due to those thoughts, we undertake the particular karma or action, finally bringing it to a full conclusion. When we say a negative state of mind, here we are talking about a state where we are overcome by the three poisons of desire and such. Now, in case where we are entertaining a negative state of mind, but we have not acted within the particular situation with a comprehensive and correct conception of the elements involved, then even if we bring that deed to a conclusion, we have not committed a totally complete karmic path. And that's because the necessary components of the intention and the undertaking will still be incomplete. How does that turn in that? How would the seed be then? If the imprint's made?
What does anybody think? How are the imprints different if you don't have all four parts of a path of action? So it just occurs to you to kill something, but you
Okay.
never actually go out and do it versus the whole thing about killing. Does it mean you don't make an imprint
No,
unless you
I'm
have
still
all
making.
four?
I'm still making it. It's
Right.
if you think about it, it's almost as you've made the action, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, you have an imprint of having
Mm-hmm.
thought to kill something, which on some level would have to be a thought that was, you did it, you had even had the thought for some reason, thinking it was needed or necessary or good or something. And then so that imprint is made.
But it's not complete because we didn't act on that thought.
Right.
So it's an incomplete path Um, so we might still suffer from the consequences of it, but not to that level whereby if we were to complete the whole thing. I think we
Yeah,
did this in one of our ACI classes, right?
yeah, yeah. I think it would like perpetuate that habit of thinking in that way, probably, or bring up the habit in the future of thinking in that same way. But thinking and not acting, right, would be how it would result. But also maybe it would be that's how we're experiencing our world is that, how would we know if somebody thinks about doing something but doesn't actually carry it out unless they go on to think about it and tell you somehow. And then they wouldn't go on to carry it out, which if it was something you needed from them or expected from them and they didn't carry it out, we'd be disappointed. But if it was a bad thing and they didn't carry it out, it would be a good thing. So, so I think the important thing is when we first hear that teaching about a path of karma, I remember my mind thinking, oh, you have to have all four to make karma at all. And then no, right, that can't be. It's the more of those four you have with your karmic seed that's being planted, the more complete is the seed, which means the more complete is going to be the result. But all of them are going to bring a result, but
Right.
not the result, remember? So
Mm.
I think it's probably easier to, if you have a seed that's only planted in thought, but not the other three, it's probably uh, more influenceable by our other thoughts and deeds than is a seed that's got all four. So maybe it's easier to purify a seed that's only not all four. I don't know. Just thinking logically by what I know about seed planting and not seed planting.
Right,
I think
right,
if let's say we have a bad seed that has not completed the cycle, then and we purify it, then we might see in our environment maybe like maybe the government or the local council wanting to impose like certain fines, certain conditions, or changes to certain routes that we used to, but then later on they decided to scrap the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I,
Good point.
I'm thinking, it could be like that then, because
Yeah.
we still need to purify the seed.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yesterday, well, I've been keeping seats here, different types of seats, just to explain how they work or kind of work
Uh-huh.
to my understanding, of course.
Yeah.
And if I were to think of my mental flow of all of the different types of seeds, these are just a few of them,
Yeah.
different sizes, different shapes, textures, everything. But reading this, it's like, how can I know which ones are which? Here, I can physically see the different types of seeds. I cannot tell them apart, the ones that are from oranges, mandarins, or from limes and lemons, right? But it says here that the intention in the undertaking would make it incomplete. So I see seeds, but I don't know what intention. I mean, it's colored by each one of them. That's the part I don't understand. But there's still seeds.
Well, so the question maybe would be when we're doing a 4 steps, for instance, is each of those 4 steps a different seed planted? Or
Yes,
is the seed planted a seed with one of the paths, or 2 of the paths, or 3 of the paths, or 4 of the paths? Or is each path a different seed? I don't know the answer.
I played with the 3 spheres also.
Mm-hmm.
I had the caps of the milk of the almond milk,
Yeah.
and I tried just explaining how they work. And they go by so fast, of course, but when you end up explaining one model, my
Right.
God, all of the different,
I know it's gone already.
I know, but just to kind of make a sense of it. So I would have to say that they're different, dear Lama, moment by moment.
That's what I would say.
Yeah. So our awareness then would have to be focused more on that intention, right?
If I think the more aware we are of our intention, the seed that's planted is a planter of more aware
Right,
of
right,
intention, more aware.
right,
Yeah.
definitely. Right,
Because we have intention, we don't do anything without some kind of intention, whether we're aware of it or not.
right. It's our awareness.
That increases the power of the intention that's going into the new seed that we're planting. As we have the intention, as we're growing the intention, it's even an intention to have the intention when we're gonna do the deed, and then to actually have the intention in mind as we do the deed. But I don't know, for me, it's like I set my intention first thing in the morning, and then I get on the conveyor belt of my day, and I don't stop. And why am I going to stop and do the dishes, right? In order to save the world. It's like so rarely that I actually say those words in my mind. But at the beginning of the day, that's why I'm here. That's what I'm doing constantly.
Yeah.
But it's really not enough, right? If I want this transformation to happen recognizably, I would do better to have that intention in my mind constantly, like the words going over and over and over,
Aware of my awareness.
aware of our awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can do a commitment and help each other out, plant the seeds for aware of our awareness.
Right, right. That's our
Thank
job.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for being patient when I ask.
Of course.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's fun to have this time, this class time,
It is. It
and
is.
to explore instead of deliver.
Right. Okay, you want me to carry on?
Please.
Okay. So it's desire and such. The other two being hatred and dark misunderstanding, as we see depicted respectively by the pigeon, the snake, and the pig drawn at the center of the traditional painting of the Wheel of Life. Not a complete karmic path. A typical example found in the literature for this point would be where we commit a misdeed, but with a case of mistaken identity, we enter a dark room at night to murder another person, killing someone other than the one we intended, because they happen to be sleeping in the individual's bed that night. We commit a bad deed, but not a full path of karma. You
You
killed
know,
the other
yes,
one.
I hear those words and I go, oh, well, then it's not as bad to kill the wrong person. And it's no, it's like worse in a way because that means you're going to get killed as the wrong person someday
An
or
innocent
something
person.
worse, you know?
Uh,
I
let's
really
just
recognize that the first time we hear these things, we understand them in a certain way. And then when we come back, oh, like, oh. And I keep wondering how much more ohs do I have to go before I get it right?
it's not easy when you hear it and when you read it.
Yeah.
Okay, shall I carry on or should I?
Let's hand it over to Miss Janet.
Okay, thank you.
I guess before I read, I remember I went to Alaska 2 Februarys ago and I was on this call, but Alaska is two time zones behind Arizona. So I was
Mm.
on late because I didn't get the time zones. So my intention was good and I
Uh-huh.
tried to do it and that Alaska trip was really hard. Doug helped me pay for it. I didn't have the money. I went on a job interview for VA and I didn't know that a year later that the VA would be torn apart. So they were already sort of getting ready for it and they said no more remote working. And they had wives of veterans that were remote working. And I don't know what happened. They probably had to, I mean, I think what's going on there, I'm not totally sure, is they're eliminating positions, but they're not refilling them. And
Yeah.
it's direction from above. So the people who
Mhm.
stay there have to work a little bit harder to get the work done.
Mhm.
So there's like a feeling of uncertainty. They don't know what to do, but they're following orders like good soldiers, so they'll figure it out. And then the second thing is I remember listening to a YouTube video of Carolyn Meese, and she's a medical intuitive, and she was talking about how in America there's this sense of you'll work really hard and you'll have privilege and things will just work out for you because you've got such good intentions. And she
Mhm.
said that's so strange because you basically think things will happen without you taking any action.
Yeah.
So I think it's the wrong action. Like when you do this ordinary bodhicitta, it's just sometimes, I would say most of the time, it's a lot of work. You get put a lot of energy and you get these temporary results, or you don't get any results. And so the energy gets put into emptiness, right? Seeing emptiness directly, which is what this book is about. You have a good intention, but instead of like there's not that you don't do the ordinary bodhicitta, but you know it's a lot of work. You try to go for the emptiness, which is very confusing. And that's where we're at. We're
Yeah.
trying to do that because we've tried the other thing. We have good intentions, and the ordinary stuff is a lot of work.
Yeah.
But he hasn't kind of gotten quite to that yet. He's
No, he hasn't.
still doing the setup for it.
Mhm.
Suppose then that we're entertaining a state of mind which is negative, and there is present a corresponding intention. If though we engage in the deed with some kind of misperception, carrying out the deed towards some other object, then even if the step of bringing the deed to its conclusion has occurred, we have not committed a totally karmic, totally complete karmic path. This is due to the fact that the components of the intention and the undertaking were mistaken. Now, there may be cases where one is having a state of mind involved with negative emotions, and there may as well be intention reflecting that. But if we don't carry out the intention action fully and it's not brought to a successful conclusion, then we do not have a complete karmic path here. And that's because the components of undertaking and then the main stage are still incomplete. There may as well be cases where we have a state of mind involved with negative emotions, and again, an intention reflecting that. but instead we do carry out the action, but without a step of successful conclusion. Still, in this case, a complete karmic path is not complete, since the component of the main stage is still incomplete. But now suppose there is present a state of mind involved with negative emotions, and there is complete the intention. And then, in addition, relative to this particular basis, we do not undertake the karma
We do
and bring it
undertake.
to a successful conclusion. This then is where the path of this particular non-virtuous karma is totally complete.
Okay.
The exact definition of these 10 paths of karma can be understood in greater detail when we employ the 5 different aspects. These are the foundation, the intention, the undertaking, the involvement of the negative emotions, and the wrap up. When we speak of basis here, what we're referring to is the object of the undertaking, towards which an action of karma, such as taking life, is directed. This is what this is. We are referencing the particular one of the 10 paths of non-virtuous karma, actions such as taking life, or whichever other one it may be, and specifically the living being, or even something other than a living being, upon which the action is based. This is Rendawa then? This is not Arya Nagarjuna?
Correct.
The intention refers to 2 types. This is either intention in terms of the particular discrimination involved, or else intention in the sense of desire to undertake the action.
Wait, what does that mean? Two different kinds of intention.
Whether you want to be self-grasping or you want to serve, I guess you could serve yourself too, but whether you want to serve for bodhicitta, the the eliminating of suffering for all beings, including yourself.
Right. Which seems like to me that my intention involves what I want to get from the deed I'm going to do. Isn't my intention focusing on the result that I want to see? That's not what he's saying. That doesn't seem to be what he's saying here.
No, I don't think I mean, I don't think that's what he means, but why
Intent,
do we do the things?
right.
What's the purpose of it?
Intention in terms of the particular discrimination involved. What does that mean?
When we can either decide, is it virtuous or not virtuous in our mind, or
Well,
we act ignorantly just by instinct?
well, in the end, it's whether you're it, for a bodhisattva, it's whether it's bodhicitta or not. If that's the difference between um nirvana and going beyond nirvana, is whether you're if you're a bodhisattva, if you're doing things with the intention of bodhicitta.
But is he talking right here of all of the people who have pledged themselves to become this great bodhisattva, or just on the intention of our actions, of our thoughts? I don't
Well,
know.
Arya Nagarjuna is talking about seeing emptiness directly. This is the build up to it. This is the foundation of it.
Yeah, learning how to not do the negative deeds that will be the obstacle to it and to do the positive deeds that will grow our virtue so we can reach that positive response.
So then, if I were to think of intention in terms of the particular discrimination involved, with bodhicitta or without bodhicitta?
Yeah, I don't know. Or is
And then
it
the intention to
referring
undertake
to,
the action?
yeah, is it referring to whether you know who actually is in the bed before you kill them? Because if you realized it wasn't the person you intended to kill, wouldn't you not do it? Because your intention was to kill that other person, not
Right.
just anybody you come across. Let's I mean let's see what happens if he'll clarify this. I like, Janet, that your mind goes right to, do we have bodhicitta in our mind or not? And that's what he's saying. I love that.
I don't know. I mean, we
You're
kind of
good.
have, you said sometimes these initiations are meeting beings, and I guess we've met Arya Nagarjuna.
Gosh, I hope
He's
so.
he's a bit outrageous. Rendawa is not outrageous.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he's got a different flavor, but I'm not sure what it is. So this is the teacher of Jason Kappa.
Right, right.
When we speak of discrimination here, we're referring to four different possible types. The first is where we think of the basis of the deed as what it actually is, or else we could think of something which is not actually this basis as being so. Alternately, we could perceive something which actually is the basis as not being so. And finally, we can conceive of what is indeed not the basis as not being it. This sounds more like Nagarjuna.
Right. Now he's saying, in our intention towards the object, do we recognize the object as the object that we intended to interact with or not? Is our in Do we have the object? Is the object of our original intention actually there? And we've got these different options. It is, or it isn't. It is and we don't know it, or it isn't and we don't know it, or it is and we do know it and it isn't and we do know it. Did I get all four? Which would require a certain amount of mindfulness to figure out where we are within that, right?
But if you play with it, I mean, I'm trying to play with it in my mind.
Mhm.
At the end, it's the emptiness of the object, isn't it?
It sure is. Which is that make our mind go, well, then it doesn't matter who you kill. If you intend to kill your boss, kill just anybody and it'll be as good as killing the boss because the boss is empty, my killing is empty. Like wrong conclusion,
Well,
right?
but they're trying to get us to go the other way. It doesn't matter who you help. You just
Yes,
help everybody. And then if
exactly.
you have Alzheimer's and you're in the memory care unit, you still help everybody because your
Exactly.
intention is just to help everybody.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, we finished this text. Janet wrapped it up beautifully.
Yes, thank you, Janet.
Let's go for coffee.
Occasionally, Michael says there's some good parts in here.
All right, it's coming. Sweet. We're back up to Elsie.
Thank you, Mom. When we are referencing one of these four, which actually does represent the component in a karmic path, it can only be the first. The other three cannot function to bring a path of karma to completion. Uh-oh, now I'm confused.
Well, without intention, the other three are meaningless.
So the main thing is the intention of what we want to do.
Yeah.
Then the other three will follow.
Right.
And if we complete the fourth
Right.
one, then it's the whole completion.
Right.
Uh,
And
uh,
like what popped into my mind, we can have this lump of clay
mm,
and the seed with just intention would be we're just happy with the lump of clay. And then adding the other four is we shape that lump of clay into something more and more specific. And by the time we have all four parts of the path of action, we have a little figurine
of
instead
what
of
we
just a lump of clay in
want.
terms of the seed planted. It's a more specific seed by the time you've got all four involved. Now, it sounds like we're making one seed, but the time it took us to do the path of all four, path of action, there's got to be zillions of seeds made, but all of them are getting
So
this more and more specificness to them.
it builds up one after the other.
Yeah, yeah,
When we speak of the intention to perform an action, we are referring to the desire to perform a particular karma towards the object at hand. Undertaking then refers to initiating a particular action through one of the three doors of body, speech, or mind, which belong either to ourselves or else to another person in order to accomplish the action. Sorry, the act.
the sentence like popped something in my mind. When we speak of an intention to perform an action, we're referring to the desire to perform a particular karma towards the action object at hand. And it's like, that caught my attention in the sense that when I go to do the dishes, I'm doing the dishes to clean the kitchen, to please Samati, right? I'm doing my job, all those different aspects. But I I don't have this active sense before I go to do the dishes that I am going to plant, I am going to perform a karma to create my Buddha paradise for everybody. Like I'm going to do the dishes. I'm not going to plant a karmic seed, a particular karmic seed. And I realize that, when I'm sharing the Dharma, I'm saying we're trying to get into this space where we're just planting, planting, planting. And that, the way he phrased that sentence just made that much more clear in my mind. Like,
So,
what can I plant next? What can I plant next?
so even when before washing the dishes, our intention has got to be clear.
Yeah,
I want to complete the job
right.
uh, today, so I'm cleaning the dishes. I'm
Yeah,
washing the dishes.
right.
And,
I
and
don't
it
know, that just really snapped something for me. Thank you very much. Okay,
do I continue or
please,
pass to?
as you wish.
And then when we speak of involvement of the negative emotions, what we are referring to is whichever one or ones of the three poisons may be involved, desire or the other two. Pass on.
And then when we refer to wrap up here, what we are talking about is where the undertaking connected to the particular desired karma is brought to a full conclusion. This could be at the time of the undertaking itself or subsequent to it. You should understand it then as we have described it here. These 5 aspects together constitute the definition of a karmic path of the 10 non-virtues. Going on, Delano? Yeah. The act of taking life. The basis for the taking of life is any living being who is possessed of such a life. Now suppose that the person carrying out the killing entertains a conception of the living being as indeed being a living being, while the living being themselves conceives themselves of the one who seeks to kill them as just such a person. This then constitutes a case where we would say that they are sharing an unmistaken conception of the situation. When the killer is entertaining just such a conception and thinks to themselves, I will kill this one, then this movement of the mind constitutes the person's intention to kill. The involvement of negative emotions here is where the person committing the killing is overwhelmed by one of the 3 poisons of desire and the rest and maintains this resolution. And so suppose we entertain this intention and then, out of a state of mind involved with negative emotions, we or someone we have engaged undertakes to do the killing, and for example strikes the victim with a weapon. Suppose further that just after we have used this weapon, the person dies as a result of our undertaking. The karmic path then comes to its total completion at that very moment. And if, due to that undertaking, the individual dies at some later point in time, then the karmic path reaches its culmination at the time when they do die.
Wouldn't we have to know that they finally died because of what I did?
No, I don't think so. We need to know once we have carried out the action and this person suffers due to the action, due to the attempt, but eventually dies. So even without us knowing that he died, I think the path is still completed because the life is lost.
Well,
And
what if I shoot him and they don't die, and then 3 years later they die of pneumonia?
Oh, that's a different thing then.
Well,
It is
then
not.
don't I have to know it? Don't I have to know they die and why they die? It's confusing to me. I don't know the answer.
Mm,
Well, at Deer Park, they were asking about euthanasia. If
Yeah,
someone is very, very in pain and you kill them, have you
yeah,
committed a misdeed?
yeah. What
And
was their
Geshe Jinpa said, yeah, you did. You should not kill them.
Yeah,
But he also said that's from our side, our lineage side. It doesn't mean it from some other side that
exactly.
it would it would be a mercy killing.
Yeah, yeah.
And yet our
And
mind would experience us killing. I mean, we would know that we have killed. So I don't know. I think for me it would make a difference if I would know the person has died due to my action, or even if he or she died later. But at the moment that I committed the deed, I would think they survived. Maybe I would be happy that, oh, I didn't kill them. And then it's different to my mind to be thinking they didn't die. And maybe I could regret. Well, I could regret also if they die, but I mean, it would make a difference to my mind to know it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm listening to you all, and when I listen to the word killing, like it has this big connotation in my mind. But when I listen to Ended Alive, it's like it has two different impacts in my mind.
The other
So,
story that people bring up is the one where the Buddha as a ship captain in a previous life and he kills somebody. And
right.
people say, well, why? What is that? And then the answer to that, it's extraordinary circumstances that you would choose to take that action.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in our and isn't in our lineage, death is a very important moment. It's like the natural moment to get out of this cycle of suffering.
Right.
So they want people to have that moment so they can have that. But if you're not trained for it, I don't see how you can grasp that moment.
Sure.
So, but at the same time, I think that's what the people at Deer Park are saying, that you let the natural death happen in all the stages to allow that person to have that. But that's not what his answer was. That's just what I'm coming up with on my own. And my logic of thinking is not very good. So I don't know.
Well, it sure plays in my mind with the example that he's setting up of killing and going through the 4 steps, setting up the basis that, I mean, it's just thinking of what weapon you're going to be using or what is it that you're going to be using to perform that action and how you're going to see yourself pulling off the gun or the knife or whatever. And if you
I
think
mean,
of,
the
yeah,
art of war talks about you always look for the weaknesses of your opponent and you're ready to take action, you know? I mean, in this world, are we at war with every single each one of each other? Is that the case? Is that why we do this? Because why would they have books written about that? This strategy of, and then once you've figured out what that person's weakness is, you absolutely do not execute it because you only when you execute it, it's like a one-time thing, like a nuclear bomb. So you have to save it. And it's not because it's like emptiness nuclear bomb. It's because once you execute that you know what someone's weakness is, well, they've been figuring out your weakness too. And it only works once, that surprise, and then you don't have that element of surprise anymore after you've executed it. So there's this flavor in our world that we're at war with every single each one of us. And that we're in the habit of knowing how to use a gun. Um, I mean, that's the problem. If someone has a gun and you think they're going to use it and you just can't have guns at all, that takes away the whole intention, I suppose. But then if people don't realize it's a one time or guns are too fast. They don't give you time to think. So, the faster it is, the harder it is to sort of navigate all this. Hand-to-hand combat takes a bit longer. Guns, nuclear weapons are a little bit faster. I don't know about nuclear weapons. That they aren't fast because it takes so long to build them, and then you have to have so many steps to execute it. But once you do it, I guess in the warfare world, it's a very efficient way of killing because you kill a whole bunch of people all at once. So it gets back to the intention then, you know. So I mean, you can be in a warfare situation and it can be slow, and you can be in a warfare situation that could be really fast. Or it could be a lot of people very efficient all at once.
I was wondering about the situation. A friend of mine, they had short before Christmas, her aunt was very ill and she was in hospital. And she had been put to machines for quite some time already, and she had made it clear in her will that she doesn't want to be on machines. So if it's at some point time to decide, then she wanted the family to put her or take her off the machines, which would definitely be her death. And so they wanted to fulfill the wish. They didn't want to kill her, but they took the life by switching off the machines. And I was thinking a lot about it, and I couldn't find a conclusion for myself, because on one hand, I would like people to respect my wishes and to do what I want to do. But on the same hand, we say that, for example, committing suicide is also, I mean, like it doesn't come back as a good result. We go to hell, right? So, and it's kind of the decision, I will take my life and I will let other people help me to take my life. You know what I mean? It's like, it was really tricky. And the family decided they want to do that, but I don't know. I couldn't really find my way out, because then we are justifying too easy that this person wanted it, and so I'm justified to take this decision or put it into action. But in other countries, it's forbidden. So it's also a thing that we make up a rule, and it doesn't have to do with the 10 good or bad karmas, you know. It's just because we are allowed to. Is it then something right? Is the karma that comes back from this action, is it a killing one? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, we want it to be black and white, don't we? And
Yeah.
it's just all shades of gray. Like
But how to decide that?
if somehow I ended up on life support, despite the fact that I didn't want life support, it would, for me, for if I were aware at all of the situation, it would be a good ripening for someone to stop the life support, right? And let me go. But it would be a bad seed for them.
Oh,
So it's like from me, the one hooked up, if I were able to, be aware of this situation, ordinary me would be saying, unhook me, unhook me. But the bodhisattva me would be saying, man, I'd love it if somebody would trip on the plug, or, the power would go out, or something. But no, I don't want anybody to get the karma for unplugging me. And I'd be willing to just take what needed to happen. But meanwhile, it's costing somebody somewhere a whole bunch. So I'm contributing. The longer I'm there, the longer I'm contributing to some hardship. Right? It's like there really is no clear, definitive, how do I not hurt anybody? That's samsara, right?
Or we can take it as we're fulfilling a wish because the person expressed her wishes to just go off.
Right,
So by us switching it off, we are fulfilling her wish.
right. So maybe the bodhisattva would be the one who steps in and says, I'll unplug her. I'll
I take the
take the
karma.
karma of taking a life to fulfill that person's wish. I know my life will be cut short. I know I'll bounce into hell. I'm willing to do it for her.
And I think it's like the story that Janet told just now. The Buddha had to kill the captain of the ship because he was causing pain to the people. Yeah, so he had to take his life to save the others. I think that was the story that
Right.
Janet was saying.
Right. And so did that bodhisattva get negative karma by doing that? Yes, he did. He was willing.
Or he did it not to save the lives of the passengers, but
Right.
to prevent the intentional killer to get the
Right.
karma from the killing the others. So
Right.
yeah.
He
But in this
prevented the
case,
guy
if you
from
find,
killing 500. Prevented the
yeah,
guy
but
from
then,
killing 500 people.
yeah, but then if someone, for example, takes sleeping pills and you find that person,
Mhm.
And obviously this person wants to die. Don't you still try to save them? Would it be, it's a kind of the same situation. I mean, they want to die and then you just let them die? I don't know.
Can I
No.
direct their mind to the clear light as they're dying and then go to jail because of it? Am I willing to do that? If not, then I dial 911 and get them help.
Well,
It's
and then
really,
the
really,
fact that they're so much in pain or that they're wanting to die is coming from our own side. So what's up
right.
with that?
What's up with that?
I mean, I think we feel that way about your coughing, but you said don't do that. Just
Yeah,
work on
don't
ourselves.
work on ourselves, right?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah. Working ourselves. And I think then there's a decision to be made, either do I really want to end up in jail? Do I really want to bounce in one of the hells?
yeah,
It's like, what is the upcoming result that you want to have in your life?
yeah,
And it's a tough question, but we don't think of that.
no,
I mean, at least I don't think of it.
yeah,
I mean, I think there's it's the quality of the touching, and it's not even like a good intention, but whether um if the intention is not so wild, but very focused and firm and unrelenting, but not wild and desperate. Like our wanting to help people is it's not to be done in a wild and desperate manner. It's to be done with calm and
yeah,
steadiness and firmness.
right.
I tend to be kind of wild and desperate.
I think we all have different situations to reflect upon.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm just thinking, Mario went to surgery a couple of weeks ago, and it was just me there with him. So when they bring over, the hospital brings over the paper that you're responsible for everything that happens to him,
uh-huh,
and you have to sign.
yeah.
That's for me, that was a scary moment. So, and then the doctor says, okay, we have him all plugged in. He's ready to go. We're ready to proceed. It's not a big surgery, but just to let you know that if something starts going wrong or we notice something, we're going to stop. And then they go, oh my God. So, you're
Mm,
expecting to get out of there
yeah,
better, but all of these things can happen. All those different karmas can happen right there.
that's right. Uh,
So I guess that until you're in a situation like that is you're expecting for the best, but you don't know exactly what karma is going to ripen.
Exactly. We're at the mercy of what karma
Right,
is
we're
in
at the
our pocket,
mercy.
which is why we want to put into our pocket as much not killing,
Mm.
not stealing, not sexual misconduct, not right, not.
Right, right. So I'm thinking right now, I'm happy that I don't get to think. I rejoice on the fact that I really want to kill someone. I do not entertain my mind with what weapon am I going to perform
Right,
such action. So
right.
I think for us, it's such a big rejoicable because as I was reading this and I go, yeah, but before class, I offer you a perfect world. So is this the perfect world that I'm offering you? Where the killing and the taking lives or whatever you want to call it, it's performed. I don't want that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, as we work with these ideas, we see how much more subtle those 10 virtues can be worked with. They seem like, well, we get introduced to them early on. Okay, I get it. Don't do these things. But as we dig in, they get more and more subtle. How we work with them, avoiding this and doing its opposite. And it just gives us the guidelines, really, of what to take up and what to give up. That's what it's all about, right? Okay, let's take our break, shall we?
From a martial artist point of view, if you just stand there and do nothing, nothing happens. So you almost have to take initiative. But when you take the initiative, is it always defensive? Is it both defensive and offensive? And all taking up advantage of a weak person aside, like I did. Like my dad is old and my Tai Chi brother is disabled. And at my skill level, I can execute against bully people who are beneath me. But if someone was equal to you, there's a lot of learning to be had in engaging with that person. So not engaging is not the way to learn. Engaging is the way to learn.
Yeah,
And
that's a
then
great point.
and you keep it to yourself. You keep it private what you learn. I
Mhm.
would coach people on what to do to me, and my teacher would say, "Don't do that. Don't tell them what to do." And I'm like, "Why not? We're cooperating."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Because you're not supposed to cooperate. This isn't that kind of thing. You're supposed to figure out what the other person's weakness." Well, that's one. If you put someone in a bad position and then you execute something, it's easier. But the other way is with skill. And with your expansion, if you have a really good foundation and you expand into somebody, that's how the higher level practitioners do it. And it seems like magic that they do that
Yeah.
because your good foundation will overcome theirs because you're basically using your foundation against each other and you're using your whole body, not just your arms. So if we're equal and someone's foundation is equal to mine, then you have to find some other way to create the imbalance. And I think for me, it's right now it's timing. So if you can kind of anticipate their actions and predict it because you know them, then you could do something just beforehand because they'll a lot of times people prepare to execute something. So I don't know. I mean, that's why people say don't apply for jobs and just stick with the job you're at. But well, Roxana doesn't say that, but other people are like, and it's true. I can study at the ladies and I can be at on Zoom at the ladies. Um, but I tell myself, like on my list of things to do, I'm going to apply for 2 jobs. I still tell myself I have to take action. I can't just well, I can just sit here and do nothing, and things do work out. They call it slotting. If you do purifications, there's a slotting that happens, and things kind of fall into place. I guess you do both. You look for the slotting, and then you also take some actions. And quite honestly, just because I apply for a job and I use AI to write my resume and cover letter doesn't mean the AI who's reading my resume and cover letter will
Oh,
even accept me. So things have changed over the years. It's all machine now. And
wow.
I don't know, I don't really look great on paper, so I'm not so sure that anything will work out.
Oh dear.
I know. And I don't really need to work. Doug would support me and I could work, jobs that don't support really like it's not realistic to live on what I'm living on. Um, I don't know if that enables that whole system. I don't know. So, I guess it's okay not to know. I just don't know what's going on. It feels like there's a big shift in the work world going on right now.
I'll bet it does. I bet it does.
I've heard a lot of artists aren't getting jobs because of AI, but then I talked to my Lama because I'm taking a writing class and they want us to use AI. And Mike says that the quality of the writing of AI is just so poor. He thinks that AI is just a way to fundraise and to raise capital, but he thinks that the product is so poor it's not going to lead to anything. Whereas
Oh,
other
my.
people are afraid AI will be smarter than us and then defeat us, like the Terminator scenario.
Yeah.
But my Lama does not feel that way.
Oh, I hope he's right.
He's also the smartest person I know, and
Yeah.
perhaps for him, AI isn't. But I think AI wrote something better than what I could come up
Oh,
with.
do you think?
It's all relative, I
Yeah.
suppose.
I saw a little blurb where there is a social media for AI only. Everybody posting on that social media is AI, AI to AI. I think that's just such a good basis for a stand-up comedy routine about what AI says to AI in their conversations together. I just think that's so funny.
I know we have to go, and I mean, I put in my story, and it was good. It was about the flood in 1993 in Arizona and living at Rivas Mountain School.
Uh-huh.
And then they put in facts, like it was 22 inches of rain in a day. But then
Yeah.
I put in my friend. I had dinner with a friend, and I put in her work experience volunteering.
Uh-huh.
And it was so flowery and so sugar-coated and so corporate. And she's a
Yeah.
level-headed, intelligent woman. It was not at all like how she would write.
Yeah.
So I think for stupid people that have disasters, it's okay. But
Yeah.
for intelligent people that want to share something personal, it's probably not gonna cut it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. So are we ready to move on to the act of stealing?
Can we kind of just wrap up the act of killing, please, dear Lama?
The wrap up of the wrap up? The wrap up
Yeah,
of the act of
yeah.
killing? So the most strong karmic seed that we could make in terms of the act of killing would be we have the intention to kill a specific person in a specific way for a specific reason. And then we plan out how to do it. We go find them and clearly identify them with our intention still strongly in mind. We carry out the deed we intended to carry out, and we see them die by way of what I just did. That would be the most complete act of killing. And then anything short of that is going to be a less. So if we have that kind of fully complete karma, then those seeds, when they ripen, would ripen as my experience of somebody else having this really clear intention to kill me in a certain way. They go find me and they do it. So a complete karma is going to bring back a complete experience, similar to the one that was done, only grown bigger. Any way in which that was incomplete colors how my experience, how I will experience what we call its result. So I still have to have the intention to kill somebody, to have a plan to do it, to try to carry it out or not. If I don't have the intention to kill somebody, I can't make this whole 4-part path of killing. I can still kill somebody by accident, and that's still a karmic seed of getting killed by accident. But it's not this full-on path of action of killing. Right? And so all those gray areas of the variation in what could be any one of those 4 factors is colored into the seed. And so its result will have some variation in the other's action towards me as I perceive it, right? I think that's the wrap up I can bring to that.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that what I had understood.
Yeah.
And
Do
I
I
kind
have
of,
it right?
yes, that's what I understand. So since we have so many gray areas, right?
Yeah.
And we do not know how the seeds really going to unfold in the ripening end of it.
Right.
So that's why we avoid the non-virtuous things.
Yeah. Just avoid it altogether.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be aware of the awareness. If you're just entertain yourself with the thought of thinking of someone that you want to not even kill. I mean,
Right. Right. But like the white flies on the shard. So I've got shard. I cut the leaves. I don't pull up the whole plant to eat it. I cut the leaves so it continues to grow. And as I get in there to find the leaf, these white flies fly away. And I don't spray the plant to stop the white flies anymore. I don't find them and kill them. I shake them, right? So that they're not on the plant, so I don't bring them into the house, and so that we don't end up eating them. But, a part of me would rather have them dead than flying around the shard, because then they're going to go to other plants. And if I bring one into the house, well, technically 2, then all the house plants are going to have white flies. And then what do I do? Right? So it's like I have to admit, no, I don't kill bugs, unless it's a white fly in the wrong place. I still can justify, right? Even as I'm doing it. I haven't done it in a long time, I have to say. But I know there will be a time that there'll be a white fly in the wrong place. And I'll
right.
even try to catch it and put it out, and I'll kill it in the process. Then what? Right?
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, because I don't like even the tiniest insect inside the house.
Yeah.
So the other night, I went to the downstairs bathroom and there was a cricket. So I got some toilet paper, I grabbed it, and I just sent it out. And I thought probably in the process, I heard this poor fellow
I know.
trying to protect his life inside, because if Mario would have seen him, he might have ended smashed.
Right. Right.
So,
Like everything is choices and action, choices and action. So there's that intention again.
right.
The intention to protect it. We heard it. Yeah, all right.
Thank you, dear Lama.
We try, retry.
Yeah, we try.
Which technically is all we can do, right? because what we do in the moment doesn't bring what comes next.
But Lama, don't you think that even though we are trying to save the life, but in the process, this life or this being got hurt? My thoughts are it is due to that being karma as well.
Right?
So that is the reason why he got hurt. But I'm also sorry that he has this karma.
Right.
So it's like uh, trying to comfort myself that you know I accidentally hurt this person or this other being.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then when somebody's trying to help me and hurts me instead, who am I going to blame? If I understand this well, I won't get mad at them. I will. It's like, oh, yeah, I remember. Even in this life, I did that. Right. And it happens all the time. Somebody trying to help us hurts us, right? You go draw blood, that hurts.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Sansara is wicked. Let's learn about the act of stealing, shall we? Who's up? I forget.
I think Janet or Roxana, one of the both.
I'll go.
You go.
Let's see. The act of stealing. The basis of the act of stealing is any object which is in the possession of another person. The conception here is when we conceive of the object as indeed being that way. Another person. Be aware that person in Buddhism refers to any living being, human or animal. The intention is that very desire to steal that thing. The involvement of negative emotions here is supplied by any one or more of those three poisons. And then the conclusion is where the object in question has been transferred to another location. Okay.
The intention behind stealing is the desire to steal. Doesn't that seem weird? Seems to me the intention behind stealing is I want that thing for mine.
Right.
The intention to steal means I just want to sneak in there and get it away and see if I can do it. I don't actually want the thing. I just want to do the stealing. That's where we would have to go back to the Sanskrit, wouldn't we, Janet? To see if the connotation here is what's wrong with stealing is that we want to be sneaky in some way.
But
And
Randawa is
take,
not Sanskrit. Randawa is Tibetan.
but he's talking from Nagarjuna, right? So
Is
you're
he?
right.
I
Yeah,
mean, this
he's
doesn't sound like Nagarjuna.
he's explaining Nagarjuna's letter to the king. Those are those verses that we get. Nagarjuna hasn't quite kicked in yet. He's teaching the king the basics.
Oh, okay. He's doing the background for the king.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess I
Leading
lost
up
the root.
to,
Is
yeah,
the root text here someplace? I kind of
the-
lost it.
these verses. Somewhere we had one. I saw it.
For a friend.
There.
I did not live.
Okay.
That's the light for the friend.
Yeah, it's somewhere. Lama, if you move the page up, I saw it just now. Ah, there.
Yeah,
Is that it? Mm.
yeah, this one. That one.
Mm.
So that's why Rendell is filling in the details.
And I think the intention to steal is to want the ownership of that item.
Yeah, well, then say that's the intention. I want that thing. Not just I want to steal it. That's my argument.
Mm,
The intention isn't to steal, the intention is to get that thing for myself,
mm,
which seems very different than the basis of the act. Well, the basis is the act of, or the object, but the intention is the desire to steal it. I would argue with Master Randall, but anyway, let's go on.
I found it peculiar that he says taking something from human or an animal, and I was from an animal. What can you take from an animal?
Don't steal
Food
that
or
rabbit's carrot.
milk?
yeah, the food, or I even thought the puppies, for example. If you breed dogs or I don't know, and then you sell them, I mean, you have a self-interest, you want to earn the money, and you take away the kids from the babies from the dog, and then this is stealing as well. I never thought about it. I
Yeah.
don't know. That was
Yeah.
But in this case,
peculiar.
is the intention of stealing or is the intention of giving them a better place to where they can have fun and be loved with another family? I mean, what's the intention in that
Yeah,
person
but
who's
if you're
breeding the
when you're
dogs?
breeding dogs, then you want to
Yeah,
make money. You have a desire for the money, and you use the dog to make the money. So that's the
Right.
intention is the desire. It's not for the find a new home. Like if your puppy or your dog gets unintentional, you know.
but at the end, the intention is what plays the role here, right? So,
Yeah.
are you
Yeah,
Is
so
it
the
thinking?
stealing
intent,
then?
right. So the intention isn't to steal the puppy from the mother. So does that mean you're not stealing the puppy from the mother if you take it before the mother's ready to push him out of the nest? Like, according to this, you have to have the intention to steal for what you do to form up the whole complete path of stealing. And I disagree with that.
In what terms do you disagree?
I disagree in that underneath the intention to steal is I want that for myself, or right, I want that for another reason. So underneath, I think the actual intention for stealing is the I want that, right? The mental affliction is the intention, and then the stealing is the act that you do. That's how we're going to carry it out. So to me, the stealing is the second piece, not the first. But
The main one is the ownership.
yeah, it's I right. It's that I want the ownership of that is my intention to get the ownership of that or the benefit somehow of having it. And then in order to get that intention met, I steal. I'm willing to steal. Don't know. Anyway, what happens with stealing? Oh, we've finished it. Okay,
Shall I continue on?
sure.
The act of sexual misconduct. As for sexual misconduct, the basis is described as follows. First, we have a person of the opposite sex who is not appropriate to have relations with. Next, the person could be someone that it is appropriate for us to have relations with, but we somehow perform the act within parameters that are inappropriate. The part of the body involved is inappropriate, or the location of the act is inappropriate, or the time is inappropriate. Here we also include sexual relations with a person of the same sex, or with a sexually neutral person, with a person of the same sex. We should note that sexual and other ethical mores, even within Buddhism, are highly dependent upon what is acceptable within a particular time and culture.
Right. Okay.
The conception here is where we conceive of things as we just described. The intention is the desire to engage in this conduct. The involvement of the negative emotion is the same as before. The conclusion is when the two make contact with each other in each case. So that's sexual misconduct
Right.
until you have contact, physical contact.
Makes the complete path of karma.
Right,
Not that we're not making karma along the way to get
right.
to the path.
But the complete is just when,
Right.
okay. But the same, if you think of it, those shades of gray, I mean, here also, with the time, the place, and then it says it depends on the culture. It depends on,
Right. Right.
I would disagree with that. We had in the ACI course, there was specifically this one, you have to make the decision. Karma is karma. And it doesn't matter what the rules say, the laws at this current time, and your culture says, and what your culture says, and what your parents taught you. You have to make the decision, and then they write in this text, it's depending on the culture at the time. I don't understand. So now, since we are more open and tolerant, it's okay to have with the same sex, with a person of the same sex, contact in this way, and at that time it was just not so widely tolerated. So at that time, it would have been different karma. Wouldn't be the karma the same? I think it would be the same karma, and it's like justifying again somehow. It doesn't feel right. I don't know. I would disagree with the footnote.
yeah, it gives you a lot to think about
Yeah.
because they're legislating on a lot of things concerning, gender and it doesn't
I mean,
matter how you were raised or it's other people are deciding on culturally what is to be in that country, to be seen as something normal or avoid doing.
he's
And
trying to cultivate the 10 virtues with the king, right? So maybe, the king would be a bad example if he would engage in this kind of activity. So I would understand this reasoning for myself. So he should try to prevent it in case someone would take it as an example. But I don't know.
Like,
but,
why is this so important, really?
well, if it was important back then, right now, I think that it is important even more now. I think that as humans, we have had so many alternatives, so many roads to go by that we lost ourselves in so many roads and so many avenues. And I'm not saying personally, but as I was growing up, I don't remember having so many genders, or I mean, or knowing about them. Until right now, I'm still not that familiar with all of the different types of genders or how people define themselves as.
Right.
I, and I don't know, it's confusing. In coaching, I've had, especially males, confused. They don't know what they are anymore because they go, I mean, they take the action, they take the intention to experience, to experiment, and that's a result.
Yeah.
It gives a result of then later on not knowing, do I really like girls? Do I really like boys? What am I to do?
Yeah.
Should I commit with a girl or should I commit with a boy? But if I'm with a girl, I would love better to be having sex with a boy. Or it's like you listen
Yeah.
and I just say, stop making sex.
Yeah.
Stop and then just figure it out.
But this is a good point because I just had to laugh. It's the misunderstanding that there is some happiness in this out there. So seeking for the happiness of a
Right.
relationship or fulfillment, finding fulfillment or anything, I don't know. So it's there's even deeper reasons for that one. But if you know you are, homosexual and you love your man and you love men and you want to have a committed relationship with another man, then I find this a bit, I don't know, I wouldn't have anything if the time is right, the place is right, and you're really acting on a very high ethical and moral way, but you happen to love the same gender. In that case, I would say it's still good karma. It's not sexual misconduct, at least
Right. Right.
from my feeling.
Yeah. Why is sexual misconduct a non-virtue? Why does it bring a negative result?
Probably of just out of desire. I mean, the kind of desire that just engaging for pleasure and out of pleasure. I don't know.
Yeah. Somehow it hurts another person
Right.
for our
Mm,
gratification,
right.
the willingness to hurt somebody for our gratification.
Right. Hmm.
It seems so straightforward. You have a partner, stay with your partner. If you don't have a partner, make sure whoever you're interested in doesn't have a partner. But then there's all these nuances, really.
I mean, my Tai Chi brother, the translator, he said that men think about sex all the time, but I don't think about sex all the time. And I
Mhm.
wondered, is this a guy thing? And I asked Doug, and Doug said he doesn't think about sex all the time.
Yeah.
And this is the king. Is it possible the king is thinking about sex all the time, like my
Yeah.
Tai Chi translator? But
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know. And if that's the
Right.
case, are your hormones, is it your past deeds that are making you think about sex all the time?
Yes. Yes.
It's a habit. And I think
But
it's interesting in the context of the king because at the beginning of the book when it was clear that they own everybody.
Right.
So they have the right to do whatever they want with them,
Right.
and including having other people's wives or men or whatever. So this might be just the reasoning to get back some limits into the thinking of the king.
and I think those ancient times that the king has uh, many concubines.
Right.
So I suppose that's one of the reasons.
Here in Mexico, we have some indigenous tribes. And actually, this week we were listening to the news, and they're trying to prevent that small girls, probably 12, 13-year-old girls, they get they're grown-up men who get involved sexually with these young girls. So for me, that it's a big karma.
Yeah.
It's still the act of having contact with one another, but it's a child.
Right. Right.
So I don't know. So those are the things that pop into my mind. With two adults, it's they're two adults,
Right,
right?
right.
I don't know what result will be. The same gender, different nationality, different cultures.
Right. All of it is seed planting.
Right, all of
And
it.
then and then again, the strength of the seed plant or the completeness of the seed planted depends on those four factors.
Right. But it's been going on from ages.
Right. Since beginningless time. Like were cavemen, cave people monogamous?
I
Somehow
don't
I
think
don't
so.
think so. You
No.
know, at what point did monogamy become something advantageous or positive or useful? That then by the time of Buddhist time, 500 BC, it's it appears to be the virtue necessary to contribute to the end of suffering. Like, how did that? I don't understand really exactly the karmic need for monogamy, whether it's a lifelong monogamy or in the time frame of that committed relationship. My guess it has something more about commitment than it does the actual sexuality. But I don't, it's not, I'm also one of the ones that is not thinking about sex all the time. So
Right.
it's like, oh yeah, sexual misconduct, no big deal, right? Although I ripen plenty of circumstances from past sexual misconduct, if it's true that stinky places are the karmic result of sexual misconduct, I still come across stinky things and even come across things that other people call fragrances and they are stinky to me. People's laundry detergent. I get a instant aversion to laundry detergent fragrance. And it's like, well, that's weird. But Roxana is right. We'll also have students or people that talk to us who will have these different experiences. And maybe that sexual desire is a really, really big factor in their life choices about other things. And it's helpful to understand the principles of karma, but then would also be skillful not to say, it's wrong for you to have sex in the park with somebody who's not your committed partner. Like, that's not up to us to say to anybody, even if they come and ask us about it. Right? Mhm.
Friday, I was with a group of lawyers. I was asked to go to help someone. And when this doctor introduced me to the lawyers, somehow he said, she's the wife of Don Mario. And and they've been married for a long time. Yes, I said over 35 years. And curiously, someone said, oh, so in such a long-term relationship, I bet that your roomies, that the passion is gone. And
Oh, really?
I
They
mean,
said that? Wow.
he said that. And like
Uh-huh.
the other guy just kind of nodded and like, because the impression that I got is that they haven't been successful in their relationships, right?
Yeah,
And I go, no, no, I said,
good for you.
but that's what they think. It was for me, it was like shocking. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so proud of, of saying, hey, this is us and we're still together and it's such a joy in my heart just to
Uh-huh.
have him with me by my side. And people go, oh, it's like you must be roomies. Oh, you must. I
It's funny.
know. how the seeds ripen, right?
Yeah. All right, shall we go on? The act of
Yeah,
lying.
somebody else may
Who's
read.
up?
Thank you.
Whose turn?
The act of lying.
Daniel.
All right.
The basis for the act of lying is something that one has observed or heard about or detailed or had a thought about. And then the opposite of these. The conception here is to conceive of the opposite of what was observed and so on. The intention is to change what we in fact understand to be the case and to express that version of things.
Mm. Mm.
The involvement of negative motion is similar to the preceding. The conclusion is where people around us or the other person who is asked a question understand our response.
Yeah. How do we know if somebody has understood our response?
I don't.
Yeah, I know. Like,
If they
I
speak
think
another
I do.
language, if they don't
Yeah,
speak my language, maybe they don't understand.
really.
But it's interesting, even if they don't agree, if they understood my words, if they could interpret my words, then it would be committed.
Right,
Even, yeah, it's my mind. Of course, it's
right,
committed.
right,
It's done.
right, right. Whether they agree with you or not. But there is the intention to 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 tell something, say something different than what you knew about it or what you observed.
It's what you want to deliver, right?
Yeah. Delivering
It's
something different.
right.
But then Geshe Michael, in some teachings, he said that it's only then speaking truth if you exactly give the image that is in your mind to the other person. And I would never be able to do that actually because so
Right.
I was thinking about it a lot because almost everything is lying then. Even if I say it's a friend, and I don't specify closer what kind of friend, a close friend or some random friend or some friend from the past, or even, I
Right.
mean, like those small details, would they make a lie then already? Because it's just leaving out information. But if I want
Yeah.
to deliver all information, then there's so much useless talk within it. It's
Yeah.
not good karma. Also, this is a
Yeah.
tricky one, I think, to have
Maybe
this.
that's why when they're talking about these, they speak to them about as the non-virtues instead of saying cultivate speaking the truth, right? That's what we're going to try, of course, to do. But as you point out, it's impossible to really convey in words what we know to be true. And then there's that silly movie that it's worth watching, The Invention of Lies or The Invention of Lying or something like that. And the way you think that movie's going to go is not what it does at all. But it starts out with a person, they all just say what pops into their mind. And so their conversation is like completely inappropriate and silly and stupid and hurtful, all the weird things that just comes out of their mouth, and everybody believes it and nobody reacts badly because everybody's doing the same thing. And then in this fluke random thing, he's at the bank and he wants to withdraw $300 and there's not $300 in the account, and the teller says, "I'm so sorry, you don't have $300." And something like he gets this neutron event and he lies. He says, "No, I know there's $500 in that account." And the teller goes, "Oh, okay." Right? Because she believes everything, and then hands him $300. And he goes, "Whoa," right? He recognizes that people will believe everything that you say, so it doesn't matter what you say. And he goes on to use that to help his mother, who's afraid of dying, and she's dying. And so he tells her, you're going to go to this beautiful place in the sky. You're going to have your own house. He tells us this beautiful story about what's going to happen to her when she dies. So she dies peacefully. And then the nursing staff hears it and they believe it. And they say, right, when you die, this, right, the whole thing mushrooms into this guy becomes like, it's just a very quirky, karmically insightful movie about why we lie, right? Why we don't say what's on our mind. And if we don't, then we're lying by omission, aren't we? But if we do say what's on our mind, we're hurting people left and right. If your mind's like my mind, critical, critical, critical. No, so it's really, really slippery, straight up. Okay, we don't lie. We're careful to tell the truth. But it's like we can't ever actually speak accurate to what our experience is.
It's like when somebody asks you, how's my new haircut? And you totally don't agree with it.
I
And
know,
then, oh, you're going to tell them.
right?
Well, what are you going to say? Sometimes, yeah, you're really stumped as to, do I tell
Yeah,
them the truth? Or do I just say, okay?
really change the subject. Or when somebody says, "Hi, how are you?" And you feel lousy, but you just say, "I'm fine," because you don't want to get into it. That's lying, right? In a way, thank goodness for all four parts of the path of action. But then in another way, oh man, I'm just perpetuating my imprecise, imprecisely motivated speech by
But
saying, it's not really a lie.
okay, but here lying is delivering something different,
Yes,
right?
intentionally, intentionally.
Intentionally,
Right,
right?
right.
So just by if they ask you, how are you doing? And you go, I'm doing good. Also, you're not replanting the seeds of saying, oh, I feel lousy. Oh,
True, true.
so and you're not putting those seeds also in that person's mind.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
it's not, it depends on the intention again
yeah,
of what to deliver.
right, exactly. All those gray areas. Okay, we said that. Divisive speech. Who's up?
I think we can.
Okay.
The act of divisive speech. The basis of the act of divisive speech is other beings who are either ready in agreement, in, who are either already in agreement or already in disagreement. The conception is where we conceive of these individuals as being in those relations. The intention is that we either wish to divide people from each other or else want that they should not reconcile. The involvement of the negative emotion is the same as the above. The conclusion is where we have finished expressing ourselves in speech, which communicates our intent of creating a diversion, and the other party understands the meaning of what we have said. Hmm.
So it doesn't matter whether the others are getting along already or not.
So if they are not in agreement already, and then which means we cause them to be further divided.
Right. Right. We must do it or it wouldn't be in the top 10, Geshe-la always says.
Mm.
Okay.
Shall we continue?
Sure. We got 4 more minutes.
Oh, okay. The act of harsh words. The basis for the act of speaking harsh words is the living beings who are causing us to feel the malice which we are holding within us. The conception here is to conceive of these individuals as being such beings. The intention is the desire to give voice to harsh words. The involvement of the negative emotions is similar to that in our previous cases. The conclusion here is when we have expressed ourselves using harsh.
Yeah. Yeah. So malice, we had that before. We're upset with them in some way. And next one. Sorry, the title's way back up here. The act of wasted words.
I think it's Xana's turn.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. The basis for the act of wasted words is subject matter which is meaningless. The conception is to conceive of the subject matter as being that way. The intention is a desire to express these words. The involvement of the negative emotions is similar to what we have seen so far. The conclusion is where we have voiced these words.
Meaningless according to whom?
Right. Right.
That's what's tricky, right? I mean, the topic of conversation in our neighborhood is the weather in the Midwest, because so many people are from the Midwest and they're here basking in the sun in Arizona, and their people are back shoveling snow. And they want to talk about it. Is it meaningless or not? Not to them.
Right. But it
But
would be harsh words if we would say, hey, that's really meaningless. What's the
I,
use of it?
I know it would be terrible.
Yeah, and they would be divisive just to say, hey, we from here from the South, and you from the Midwest, or I mean, we're divisive, so
Yeah,
it's just let it be.
exactly. Doggone, I wanted all of this to be cut and dried. Tell me what I do and what not to do, and I'll just do it.
I was
Really.
thinking, I was trying to deliver yesterday a class as if they were in kindergarten, so they would see the prompts and everything.
Uh-huh.
Because I want sometimes to whatever it is delivered to me to be kind of concise, precise, clear, pure wisdom. That's what I want, pure wisdom. So there are things that I do get it, but I don't know exactly if I have gained the pure wisdom within. So yesterday, for example, Mahamudra class, we've been studying these terms for such a long time, but I thought, oh, we're going such fast that I cannot process all of the information and just make sure that I have it right. Because when your mother tongue, it's not you're not being, the information is not in your mother tongue. My brain goes shift, 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 shift. It's like working double.
Yeah.
And by what the time it's working double, more information is coming in. So each one of us process information differently, so differently. So I'm planting the seeds so I can understand as a small kid. Be like small kids, they really learn by hands-on. And I think that the Dharma is delivered like hands-on. Practice, apply,
Yeah.
learn, ask, interact.
Mm-hmm.
And if I were to share yesterday what we were talking about seeds, I think I would have made chaos in people's mind because they're barely learning about seeds.
Yeah.
So between the different shades of gray and all those nuances, not everybody, I think, in my understanding, of course, I might be wrong, that's what they would find the twisted corner just to turn and say, hey, but you know what? It's not complete karma. I can still do this. Or you know what? I don't know. That's what I'm figuring out of what we've just studied right now. So thank you, dear Lama, for teaching us good, pure wisdom
I'm trying. Yeah.
and not turning back on those corners and trying to be sneaky and doing a wrong
Yeah.
deed. So,
And look how far we've come. My goodness.
right.
Sweet.
So deeply grateful.
And we did it all on behalf of someone else who doesn't appear to be interested at all. And we're doing it anyway. And that's a great, great goodness. So please be happy with yourself. And think of this goodness like a beautiful glowing gemstone that we can hold in our hands. Recall your own precious holy being. See how happy they are with you. Feel your gratitude to them, your reliance upon them. Ask them to please, please stay close, to continue to guide you, help you, inspire you. And then offer them this gemstone of goodness. See them accept it and bless it. And they carry it with them right back into our hearts. See them there, feel them there. Their love, their compassion, their wisdom. It feels so good, we want to keep it forever. And so we know to share it by the power of the goodness that we've just done. May all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. So use those 3 long exhales to share this goodness with that one person. With everyone you love. With every existing being everywhere. See them all filled with loving kindness, filled with wisdom. And may it be so. All right. Thank you, my dears. I'm stopping the recording.